fuck, Saya.
By definition of the word, I don't believe that I love gaming. It's extremely rare for me to find genuine feelings of contentness while playing a great game. I can't even sit through a bad game and watch it play out for spectacle's sake. Long behind me are the days of waking up and having any one game on my mind. Pretty much until I turn on my computer, I'm never really thinking about gaming. No, what ends up occupying my mind and my free time constantly is, my friends. Specifically the time I spend with my friends. Truly, most if not all of my desire to play so many games is purely the social aspect. Although these are all my personal issues, it does cause me to gravitate towards, well, odd games due to the lens that I've given myself. Odd games where the time spent is truly counted in Discord calls, pinned messages from misheard phrases, one-time nicknames, and each inebriated belly laugh we share. This is part of what brought me to love and eventually decide to preach the word of Warhammer 2: Vermintide. Wait, did I just say the title wrong? So, what type of game is it? Warhammer Vermintide 2 is a first-person co-op action game. It was developed and published by Fat Shark as the sequel to 2015's Warhammer End Times Vermintide. Vermintide 2 was released for Windows on the 8th of March 2018, which makes for around 3-ish years for development. Vermintide 2 was generally given high reviews at release due to a mix of the amazing quality of the gameplay, foundation laid by the Warhammer series, and the success of the previous title. IGN reviewer Tom Mark would say,
"There are few things quite as satisfying as the feeling of popping a rat man's head like a grape with a giant warhammer, or cutting that head clean off with an axe, or possibly unloading a full revolver clip into it, or just burning the whole thing to a crisp. The thing is, just about every one of the multitude of ways Warhammer 2 gives you or your co-op team to kill your enemies is punchy, powerful, and a whole lot of fun."
Those are words that I agree with 1000%. But this is also the same guy who gave Cyberpunk 2077 a 9 out of 10 on launch. Fucking terrible. I hope you lose your job to death, you goddamn lying sack of shit. Fucking first name as a last name ass bitch. What's actually happening within the game itself? Well, the game is set in the Warhammer Fantasy universe during the early days of the End Times. Okay, so what's the Warhammer Fantasy universe and what's the early days of the End Times? I don't fear my lack of knowledge, or God for that matter. I'm willing to truly embrace my ignorance by saying I wouldn't be able to give you a solid answer. I will, however, link some videos that will assist in general Warhammer lore for those that are unfamiliar. In fact, I won't be explaining shit unless I feel it's relevant. Now that that's out of the way, let's go ahead and break down some of the more basic elements. The game follows the heroes of Ubersreich from the first game against the Skaven hordes of Clan Fester and their new allies, the Rotbloods. The game features 5 different playable characters. These 5 characters are divided into 15 different careers, each with a unique set of skills and abilities. After players complete missions, they receive rewards through a randomized loot system. Yay. So, I'm gonna give a pretty quick plot synopsis. Remember when I said, well, go watch another video if you want lore? Well, I'm about to discuss, like, you know, just some of the things that make up the story in this game, like, unironically. Because I also said I won't be explaining shit unless it's relevant, you smug fuck. So, yeah, here's your spoiler warning. Following the events of the first game, Gracier Raskinit, the antagonist of the first game, who was presumed dead and leader of Clan Fester, has successfully captured the 5 heroes of Uberstreik. Without interference from the heroes, the city of Uberstreik fell to the forces of Clan Fester. Raskinit has since ordered the construction of a massive portal known as the Skittergate, which will allow the Chaos Champion Boldvar Ribspreader and his Rotblood army easy access to the border city of Helmgart. However, the Skittergate intermittently fails, preventing Boldvar from summoning his entire army. When the Skittergate disastrously fails to activate again, the resulting destruction frees one of the heroes, Marcus Kruber, from his captivity. He fights his way through the Skaven lair and reunites with the rest of his heroes, Victor Saltspire, Barden Gorkison, Sienna Fugnasis, and Carillion. Remember when I said something like social aspects of games are partially why I even opened games in the first place? Well, in addition to being Warhammer adjacent, which makes me harder than tungsten in a hydraulic press, I genuinely feel like this is the most accidental Left 4 Dead 2 clone ever made. I've tried looking high and low to see if there's any overlap between Fat Shark and the creators of Left 4 Dead, Turtle Rock Studios, and there isn't any. I feel like they've carved into a niche that Turtle Rock Studios clearly missed, mostly evidenced by the recent announcement of Back 4 Blood. Genuinely, if I'm ever looking to take a break from Dead by Daylight, I turn to this game near immediately. Since, you know, I don't really like gaming. So, I know this review or introduction for the game was a bit all over the place, and I'm gonna make it even more scattered by ending this out with some footage from gameplay that me and some of my friends shared together. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of the video. Fuck, I'm not gonna say like, comment, and subscribe. Fuck that. Waiting for you.
Rock blood raiding parties are cutting loose in the fields around Usingen. I don't need to tell you what that means for the poor bastards in their path. You're heading to Morgensloft, biggest farm in the area. If there are survivors, and I hope there are, you'll find them held captive there. Do what you can. Every prisoner freed is one less slave used by the enemy, and repay the dead in kind, if you follow.
Oh, this is beautiful.
I have few hopes of survivors.
Can we like take a walk together in a place that looks like this someday?
Absolutely.
All right.
Sigmar guided us here. We shall not fail.
No such thing as an unwelcome bomb.
This is
Impressive!
2 for 1.
Boom. What are the dummy? Oh, that's a scarecrow. I'm so stupid.
I'll be back.
Me, who plays RuneScape. What's this training dummy doing here for?
A lot of adventure quests.
Hey guys, what are you talking about? Oh no! I thought you were just trading Pokemon cards.
Fire and fury. I love to flame it.
Just do it!
Stay alert, mate. I reckon we're getting a warm welcome at the farm.
Oh, I'm being sucked. Help me. Oh, I got helped.
I'm being sucked. That's great.
These are bleak times.
Just say things.
I see. Well, you don't need to worry about me.
Oh,
Oh,
well, let's
we were
get to a
supposed
corner.
Corner.
You restore my faith, restore my faith.
Get to a corner. Close the
As long
door.
as there are men like you and I, the Empire will never fall.
Aww.
No one else see that form.
Oh!
Oh, you thick
Was
though.
traitor? Good.
Just like when you thought they couldn't make a character thicker than Jane.
Bringing your phone.
Oh god.
Yo. Am I being like? Oh, that like smacked.
As I thought it was. Twice the glory.
Oh, thank you.
This better taste good.
Oh, watch out.
Why?
You'll see. Oh god.
Good saggy's a dead saggy.
Shit, we survived that.
We're too late.
Potion in here. Where do we go now? Oh, this way.
We keep moving. Come on, come on.
Oh, up here.
Go off, I guess.
Yeah, just flexing on us.
Yeah.
I wish I were that cool.
A righteous flow, dwarf. Your ancestors must have fought alongside Sigmar. My ancestors fought alongside everyone, Grimmy. And with each other. That's hard. Join on everywhere, Lordy. Scatter, don't make a juicy target to the brains. Another Ratman contraption falls silent. Stand clear of that hook.
Ooh, bone rat. Gross.
Yeah, the bone man comes up and jiggles his stuff at you. You hate to hear it.
Rattle some bones. Oh, that guy didn't even know he died.
I honestly think they've given up.
Not bad for a fellow with one eye. Sigmar guides my strikes, master.
This is so beautiful.
Yeah, like I love every single inch of this game. I can't help but like show people it, and every time it goes on sale for like $8, I buy it for a friend.
I mean, makes sense. It's gorgeous.
You're just going off fighting shit by yourself because you want to look at stuff.
I'm tree out of my way. This guy is running out and someone behind me just shot him.
That was me.
Hilarious.
Oh god.
So what is that whispering thing?
It lets you know that something like that's coming.
Oh, okay. It sounds like, you know, moron. Bloop, bloop. Oh god. Yeah, this is cool. Alright. The boogeyman himself. Oops.
Oogie boogie.
Oh.
Oh, fuck. I should be over there.
Yeah. It's just the weakest link on your team right now. Going after him.
Look like it's tall as any minute, Talon.
Hey, fellas.
Look at that little gremlin go. I mean, dwarf. I just love seeing him fuck stuff up.
That's great.
There's a health potion over here.
I
I'm
think
gonna
I have
grab
one.
it. Oh, I grabbed
This-
it.
Is this? Can you see if I'm holding a green thing?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I-
This is a health potion. The green one.
Isn't that so fucking cool? We can literally see the potions. And
Yeah,
like, look,
it's really helpful.
light affects them. Like, look.
Dory! Ah, you're a gas rat! God,
Oh, fuck. Sorry.
ah, you're a backstabber!
No, I was trying to go attack it.
Sneak rat is
I
dead.
saw it coming.
Yeah, you gotta stay a certain difference.
Hold on, let me drink this.
Hey, fellas.
That's what you say to the fellas.
I don't say anything to the fellas.
You just...
I just swing. God, I wish I were here.
Right? Head empty, no thoughts, just walking
Yeah,
through
something with brain.
here. Mm-hmm. Reject thinking, embrace brainless.
Yeah, for real.
Oh, big healing. I'll grab it. You can pot.
There's a hook rat coming for us. Only good rat. A dead one.
That's a good dummy, Dory. That's a leech of Slay it swiftly. Receive the judgment of Sigmar.
Just swinging and looking around for the next person to fuck up, huh?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I must look insane, huh? I must have the time to complete and nothing.
I like that you like this game.
This is just how I learned. I'm sorry, I look stupid.
No, I was like on the fence because I don't know if you like look like this, but I'm
Oh no, this is beautiful.
yeah, I saw this and I was just like, holy shit. Oh, do you want to carry the barrel?
No, that's okay.
Oh, okay.
That's too much responsibility. I'm baby.
Get through the barn. Hurry. Barn. Hurry.
All right, then your job is to protect me.
Gas rat. Can't
Oh,
you hear the rat
darn.
in his lungs?
Responsibility. Responsibility.
That Blightstorm will take us by surprise.
Find the key for the barn.
Here's a bomb. Look out, gas.
Oh,
Hey, filthy gas rat.
Oh, here's the key. Found a bomb. All right, I got the key.
Fire blow.
Uh-oh.
hello.
Regurgitate the rat. And the car bombs away. Holy justice. Not so clever with real weapons, which
Oh, shut up. Narcissistic nag.
don't give us wrong.
Oh, fuck.
Say it. No, I was just finishing the line to your YouTube intro.
Very cute. Get him, Jay, get him. Get him, Jay, get him!
Yeah! I'm just swinging.
I see you.
It's nice to be seen.
Shall not die, Kuma! I forbid it!
All in a day's work, right, Sergeant?
Glug, glug, glug. I have no more ammunition in my this
Cannon.
thing.
You'll find
Yeah.
some.
Oi, bring Barazi! Hear that gas?
That troll was fucking terrifying looking, not gonna lie. Oh, up here. Someone's dubstepping up here.
Yeah, right?
Gas rats, cross the slot!
Oh no, it's the stinky gas.
Oh,
Where the heck did y'all go? Oh.
yep.
I see. Blue. Rat man. This guy got wrecked. Ooh, attack from the shadows.
Chaos warrior. They'll burn like the rest.
Sneak rat!
Assassin rat
Oh.
dead.
We've a leech by the sound of it.
I like how he calls them leeches instead of a lich.
Oh, good.
I'm leeching!
I don't know how to get back up, and I'm all alone, so I'm sure to die.
Where are you?
Where all we were like a second ago,
Oh,
by the water.
I'm with you.
Yeah, I see.
Alright.
Healer's pouch. Someone grab it. Everything's there.
Life is leaving you, Quagonassus! I hate to say it, sir, but this shouldn't have happened. What's the Empire coming to? Is a dark time, Dad. Yes. Maybe the dark age.
Oh God.
Gotcha.
Thank you.
Oh god.
Where's the Silas Doomy? The swing obeys him.
Light stormers dealt with.
Alright, up here. And I never really feel like lost. I've only played this once.
Eyes open for Rocky Blade for that.
Really?
Yep. I wanted to experience it with friends.
It's lovely.
Oh god.
Take my blessed shot.
Oh, there's like a grandma rat attacking me.
To have not Blackburn.
Come back over here with us.
Such a about.
It's dangerous to be alone. Like real dangerous. Because you could get carried off and then we can't save you.
Yeah.
Shit, there's healing stuff here.
You are not without fortitude, wizard.
I hope you want to fight. We found a chaos warrior. Chaos Warriors down!
She just fucking popped him. Look. He's just out.
Save whoever you can! Kill anyone who stands in your path!
Free as many people as you can.
Oh my god, so many pictures.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I cut this dude's head off.
Aim for the head.
Lovely little potion. Make most of it.
Alright. We should be fucking. Alright.
Ew, that's like disgusting. Just a bunch of burning corpses.
Alright, come on. Oh yeah. Gas rat.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. I just love it.
The sounds.
Free as many people as you can. Ammunition here. Up here. I sure hope these prisoners can fight their way out. Because we can.
The soul is willing, but the flesh requires fighting.
Holy shit. I'm just gonna hop down. Oh fuck. Oh shit, there's some up there still.
Prisoners or?
Yeah. Oh, we'll get them on our way out. Ladder here. Are you with me?
Yeah.
Oh god. Let's wait for our dwarf homie. And then keep moving forward.
Her dwarf homie.
Our dwarf homie.
Is he a real person or just?
No. He's a dwarf. The only real people here are Sigmar and the witch lady. But she's not considered a person because, you know, witch. It's kind of awesome how they literally have it set up as an allegory for real life, how the only two people seen as, like, people are the two white dudes. Oh shit.
Let me help.
No. Booyah.
Wow.
Heck yeah.